Hello, and welcome to today's weekly wrap-up show, bringing you the conclusion to your trading week. Today, we are taking a look at the changing markets in light of the upcoming Scottish referendum, the China-Russia collaboration, and much more with Tõnu Mertsina, Chief Economist at Swedbank. Hello, Tõnu, and welcome along. First up, what do you think has been a big market mover this week?
I think if we look some macro data, we have several interesting new indicators. For example, today we saw U.S. retail sales, which showed quite a good increase, which was the highest in 4 months. Another macro data comes from Eurozone, which shows that industrial production has increased in Eurozone 1% month on month and even more than 2% year on year. Then what is interesting, which actually we are following what ECB speaks about possible quantitative easing, and this week ECB indicated that government bond purchases can only be considered if inflation remains at current low levels for too long, which actually means that if inflation really will not decelerate, then this means that ECB will not start quantitative easing. But let's see what the figures will show.
Lloyds, TSB and the Royal Bank of Scotland have said they would leave Scotland if they separate from the UK. What do you think of the weakening of the pound and how this could affect world markets?
In principle, pound actually has, if we look pound exchange rate versus, for example, euro, then we see that it has actually appreciated already for a long time. But pound versus US dollar actually has depreciated, and now as the election is moving closer, then pound has become very volatile and appreciated quite a lot. But when the election will be over next week, then in principle we see that pound actually should appreciate further. And why is it so? Is because Bank of England is one of the first major central banks to tighten monetary policy, and this actually should contribute to the appreciation of pound.
Now, the China-Russia collaboration. How do you think this ever-deepening relationship will affect the economy?
Yeah, because if Russia increases its import substitution, and if Russia substitutes its export markets from Western countries towards emerging markets, like, for example, more, say, to Turkey, more export and more economic cooperation with emerging markets, then, okay, they can increase their market, but the competition will be totally different.
Have any currency pairs been particularly interesting for you this week?
Yes, probably I would point New Zealand dollar, which has been probably one of the most interesting overnight movers after Central Bank of New Zealand signaled that they would make a longer pause to the rate hikes because of a lower inflation forecast. And this actually depreciates New Zealand dollar as well. Another interesting movement comes from Russia. The ruble is continuing depreciation, and especially today, when EU imposed sanctions as of today, then we see that Russian ruble has depreciated compared to yesterday, as well as Russian MISEX has decreased as well, quite considerably.
And finally, Tõnu, what do you think our viewers should look out for in the coming week?
Yes, certainly I would look at what's happening with the Scottish independence referendum. Then also this weekend on Sunday there will be general elections in Sweden, which actually moves Swedish krona. then what will happen with Russian retaliation against EU sanctions? This also can have in principle, this can have an impact on the markets. And if we speak about data, then tomorrow we shall see industrial production and investment data from China. Next week we shall see preliminary inflation figures about Eurozone. I mean, at the end of August, they published a flash estimate, which was 0.3, but let's see whether they stick on the same number.
That concludes your trading week here at Dukas Copy TV. Have a great weekend, and make sure you click back to keep up to date with the financial markets next week.